now in session. Honorable Judge Andrew Cook presiding.
Be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we get started, we'll go over just a couple of housekeeping matters. Appreciate the folks from our law enforcement who are here today providing security for the building. Appreciate each of you, and your efforts have not gone unnoticed. I want to say that first and foremost. Second off, I want to just make aware that we are set for today for preliminary hearing in the matter of Mr. Austin Robert Drummond on the 4 counts that he had, I'm sorry, on the 5 counts that he has before the court, the 5 cases with 2 counts each. I want to take this time just to go over with everyone. We're going to have some statements and some evidence that may be entered today that may be difficult to hear, may be upsetting to hear. If at any time you feel that you cannot sit and listen to the proceedings, I would ask that you step outside. If anyone does have to step outside, that's fine. I don't mind that. If a disruption is made, then you will be removed from the courtroom. And if further disruptions are made, the court has the right to hold you in contempt of court, or the sheriff's office has the right to issue charges for disorderly conduct. I don't want to see that happen, and I don't think that we're going to have that happen. But I just have to give everybody that notice prior to this hearing starting. Mr. Goodman, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon. General Hayes, good afternoon. Mr. Huffman, Mr. Mason, good afternoon. Mr. Drummond, good afternoon, sir. What are we proceeding on first? Because I know there is a motion before the court, and also we have a preliminary hearing. So how do we want to take that up?
We'll just do the preliminary hearing first.
Okay. Does the state have its list of who it intends to call today during the preliminary?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
The state intends to call Officer Corey Hussey, Deputy Hunter Brady, Special Agent Justin Tubbs, Special Agent Scott Lawson, and Brandon Wheeler, Officer Wheeler.
Okay. Anyone else, General?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. Is anyone from the defense going to be called for as a witness?
No, Your Honor, we will call them.
Okay. Folks, if your name has been called, and I don't know all of you who they just called out, I know some of them, but for those of you whose name was just called, you will have to step outside the courtroom while the others are testifying. Rule 615 of the Tennessee Rules of Evidence says that witnesses must be sequestered for that purpose. You cannot discuss the case with one another prior to your testimony. Who's the first witness for the state going to be?
We Officer Hussey.
Okay, Officer Hussey. Everyone else who was called as a witness would step out at this time, and when we are ready for your testimony, we will have a deputy come outside to retrieve you at that time.
Yeah, our Special Agent Tubbs is on the testify point.
Yes. The court will take note that Special Agent Tubbs is the prosecuting witness designated by the state of Tennessee. Mr. Huffman, in general, I know y'all's normally my routine is in preliminaries. I'm happy to hear from either party on any opening, but if everybody wants to just proceed to direct examination, I'm fine either way. I just wanted to kind of get the lay of the land from y'all.
The state will wait the opening remarks.
We'll proceed then to direct examination. I do want to make sure I have officially put this on the record. We are hearing the matter. I should have done that first. I apologize. We are hearing the matter of State of Tennessee versus Austin Robert Drummond in cases number 25 CR 48067, 48068, 48069, and 48071. 25 CR being those documents. Your first witness, General.
Your state of Tennessee calls Officer Corey Hussey.
Officer Hussey. If you please come to the witness stand, sir. If you would, Ms. Jessica is going to place you under oath at this time.
You solemnly swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God.
Thank you, sir. And Officer Hussey, be sure if you would to speak into the microphone. We've had these things kind of messed with and fixed in a much better way, and I appreciate our IT folks for that. But just be sure to speak into the microphone clearly because we are recording. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Would you state your name, please?
Corey Hussey.
And where do you work?
I'm a park ranger with Tennessee State Parks.
Hold on. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that didn't totally kill us here. It didn't.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys.
All right. Could you tell me again who you work for?
I'm a park ranger for Tennessee State Parks.
Okay. And how long have you had that position?
I took this position in June 28th,
June 28th.
2025.
I'm sorry.
2025.
Okay, June 28th, 2025. Do you recall if you were working on the day of July 29th of 2025?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And as a part of your job, do you routinely patrol state parks and specifically around River Lake area?
Yes.
Is that something that's just part of your duties that you do that?
Yes.
How many parks are there that you have to actually patrol daily?
One park, River Lake State Park.
Okay. Are there individual smaller parks within the full Lake Park area?
Yes, sir. There are individual units that are all attached to River Lake State Park.
Okay. Is there one on Carrington Road in Lake County?
So the Carrington Road location is state land managed by TWRA. However, we operate programming and tours from an area on Carrington Road.
Okay. So it's not actually a park, is that right?
No, sir.
Okay. It's just an area that's owned by the state and it's actually used by the state.
Yes, sir.
Is that area actually near the Northwest Correctional Complex?
Yes, sir.
Just an estimate, how far would you say it is from that area?
Maybe a mile.
And is that here in Lake County, Tennessee?
Yes,
That area that we're talking about on Carrington Road?
yes, sir.
While you were patrolling that area on July 29th, 2025, did you notice anything unusual or anything that caught your attention that day?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you tell me what that was?
So while patrolling down Carrington Road shortly after 1 o'clock, I found 3 vehicles parked on the left side of Carrington Road.
Okay. Do you know what type vehicles they were?
One was a black Dodge Charger, one was a Chevrolet Traverse, and the other was a Nissan Rogue.
Okay. Did you see anyone out there? Any individuals standing around the vehicles or inside the vehicles?
I did not see them.
What'd you do after you noticed the vehicles? Did you stop, get out? Did you do anything?
I proceeded past the vehicles when I was making entry down Carrington Road. Then I turned around and proceeded back out from that location.
Okay. As you came back out of the location, were all the vehicles still there?
No, sir.
Which vehicle was no longer there?
The Nissan Rogue had left in the time it took me to turn around.
Did you notice anything about the Nissan Rogue that was unusual for this area?
It had a California tag.
I want to hand you this photograph. If you would look at that photograph. Do you recognize either one of those 2 vehicles in that photograph?
The Nissan Rogue with the California tag would be the similar make and model as what I saw.
Okay. Is that vehicle similar to the one that you saw there that day?
Yes,
When you turned around and came back, was the vehicle leaving at that point or was it already gone?
it had already left.
Could you tell anything about if it was left hurriedly or could you tell?
In the time it took me to turn around, it had already left from where I can see it. There's quite a bit of dust in the air. As I proceeded out on Carrington Road, there are several straightaways, and at no point in time could I see the vehicle. So it indicated left in a hurry.
Would you make that photograph with an exhibit to your testimony, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Mr. Huffman, have no objection? Okay. Court will show that this be entered as State's Exhibit Number 1.
Officer Hussey, after you saw that vehicle leave and the other 2 vehicles that were still there, did you see anyone around at that point, around the vehicles?
No, I did not see it.
Did you make a report about that?
I wrote notes to myself that I did not file any report at that time.
Did you later tell someone about that?
Yes, sir.
And who was that?
My manager, Bill Robertson.
What made you tell him about that incident?
Later that evening, he messaged me that there had been an incident on Carrington Road.
And, at that point, what did you tell him?
I immediately called him and informed him that I had been there earlier that day and had seen those vehicles.
And was that information passed on to local law enforcement?
Yes, sir. I shortly received a call from the Sheriff's Department along with TBI and shared that knowledge with them also.
And after that, did you produce all of your findings to a report?
Yes, sir.
One moment, Sean.
Yes, sir.
You stated that when you first saw the vehicles on Carrington Road, that you drove past them and then turned around.
Yes, sir.
How long did it take you to go down to the area that you were turning around and then get back to where the vehicles were?
Only a few minutes, less than 5 minutes, probably 2 to 3 minutes.
2 to 3 minutes? Okay. Did you notice anything about the vehicles? Were any of the doors open or anything like that?
When I was coming past the vehicles the first time, the black Dodge Charger's trunk was open.
What about when you came back?
The trunk had been closed at that time.
So you passed 3 vehicles, trunk is up, within 2 to 3 minutes, you come back, the trunk is closed, and the Nissan Rogue is gone.
Yes, sir.
When you get back to the road, you see no sign.
Yes, sir.
All right, then I'll pass the witness.
Yes, sir. Mr. Huffman?
Briefly,
Yes, sir.
Officer Hussey, were you able to see any individuals on scene? You said you drove past, you notice any individuals?
No, sir.
So, when you drove back by, same thing?
No individuals at that time.
That's it.
Yes, sir. Can you redirect, General?
No, young.
Officer Hussey, we thank you for being here, sir. You're released from your subpoena. You can have a seat here or you're free to go, whichever you'd like to do, sir. Thank you very much. Next.
Statement called Deputy Hunter Brady.
Yes, sir. Deputy Brady. Yes. They can hear you. Absolutely. Deputy Brady, if you would, please raise your right hand.
You solemnly swear for the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God.
Have a seat, sir.
Good afternoon. Would you state your name, please?
Hunter Brady,
And Deputy Brady, where do you work?
Lake County Sheriff's Department.
And how long have you been working there?
Been here a little almost a year now.
Do you remember if you were working on July 29th of 2025?
I was.
And was that early day or was that in the evening?
We've been in the evening.
Was that the shift you typically work?
That's correct.
Had you received any information earlier in the day about a baby being abandoned in another county?
I have not.
Had you heard anything about that?
Just on what I've seen on social media.
Okay. But you had seen that earlier that
Yeah.
day? Okay. Did you know at that time who the parents of the baby was that was dropped off or anything about that?
No, I did not.
Did you receive a call later in that evening that vehicles that may have belonged to the baby's family had been located?
I did.
And who did you get that call from?
One of the family members of, I believe one of the victims involved.
Did they call you directly or did they call dispatch?
They called our dispatch.
And you were dispatched to that area?
That's correct.
Where did you go? Where was the area that you responded to?
Carrington Road.
And is Carrington Road in Lake County?
It is.
Once you got to Carrington Road, what did you do?
Cool. So when I first got there, we spoke with the female caller. She advised that she found her family vehicle was parked back on the dead end road, which is halfway down. And made my way down there and located the white Chevy Traverse and the Dodge Charger.
Was anybody else with you, any other officers?
Yeah, there was a Tiptonville officer, Officer Morrow, and Deputy Karen Gross.
did y'all all arrive at about the same time?
Yeah, they were probably a minute behind me.
All right, so you proceed down Carrington Road, you find a black Charger, Dodge Charger, and a white Chevrolet Traverse vehicle. Right, okay. Was anyone in the vehicles?
No, the vehicles were vacant.
Did you run any registration on the vehicles to see who they belong to?
I was approaching the vehicle as why Deputy Gross started running the registration on the black Charger.
Were you able to determine who that black Charger belonged to?
No, not at the time.
Or at a later time?
At a later time.
Do you know who that was? Do you know if it was Braden Williams?
I never received the information from dispatch. She's the one that ran the registration.
Fair enough. So you didn't see anyone in the vehicles at the time. Did you start to look around the vehicles or look in the vehicles?
Yeah, so I first looked in the passenger side of the vehicle
Which one?
of the white Chevy first.
Okay. Did you notice anything when you looked inside?
Yeah, red substance that I believe it was blood, all in the passenger side, front, in the
So y'all just been looking at me the whole time while I'm over here looking at something else. I'm just over here and I'm looking. I'm trying to do something else. Oh my goodness! I don't know why it went off that screen. Hold on, I'll rewind it. I don't know why I stopped sharing it. What a mess. I'm sitting up here trying to look for court documents. I ain't looking at that.
Afternoon.
I'm trying to so busy trying to.
Which state your name, please?
Hunter Brady,
Oh,
Deputy Brady, where do you work?
Lake County Sheriff's Department.
right.
How long have you been working there?
Been here a little almost a year now.
Do you remember if you were working on July 29th of 2025?
I was.
And was that early day or was that in the evening?
Would have been in the evening.
Was that the shift you typically work?
That's correct.
Had you received any information earlier in the day about a baby being abandoned in another county?
I have not.
Had you heard anything about that?
Just on social, what I seen on social media.
Okay. But you had seen that earlier that
Yeah.
day? Okay. Did you know at that time who the parents of the baby was that was dropped off or anything about that?
No, I did not.
Did you receive a call later in that evening that vehicles that may have belonged to the baby's family had been located?
I did.
And who did you get that call from?
One of the family members of, I believe one of the victims involved.
Did they call you directly or did they call dispatch?
They called our dispatch.
And you were dispatched to that area?
That's correct.
Where did you go? Where was the area that you responded to?
Carrington Road.
And is Carrington Road in Lake County?
It is.
Once you got to Carrington Road, what did you do?
So when I first got there, we spoke with the female caller. She advised that she found her family vehicle was parked back on the dead-end road, which is halfway down, and I made my way down there and located the white Chevy Traverse and the Dodge Charger.
Was anybody else with you, any other officers?
Yeah, there was a Tiptonville officer, Officer Morrow, and Deputy Carrington Road.
Did y'all all arrive at about the same time?
Yeah, they were probably a minute behind me.
All right, so you proceed down Carrington Road, you find a black Charger, Dodge Charger, and a white Chevrolet Traverse vehicle. Right, okay. Was anyone in the vehicles?
No, vehicles were vacant.
Did you run any registration on the vehicles to see who they belong to?
I was approaching the vehicle as my Deputy Gross started running the registration on the black Charger.
Were you able to determine who that black Charger belonged to?
No, not at the time.
Or at a later time?
At a later time.
Do you know who that was? Do you know if it was Braden Williams?
I never received information from dispatch. She's the one that ran the registration.
So you didn't see anyone in the vehicles at the time. Did you start to look around the vehicles or look in the vehicles?
Yeah, so I first looked in the passenger side of the vehicle
Which one?
of the white Chevy Traverse.
Okay. Did you notice anything when you looked inside?
Yeah, red substance that I believe it was blood, all in the passenger side front and the passenger side rear.
Okay. What'd you do at that point?
I advised the other officers on scene that we had either an active situation going on or something had happened and we needed to search the area.
Okay. And so did you start to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
I walked around the vehicle a little bit and then I noticed a shoe sitting off the trail that was directly behind the vehicle and it had some blood on it. So that was the direction we determined we needed to go. And I went off in the woods. That's when I located 2 bodies in the directly behind the white Chevy Traverse.
Okay. Did you, before you found the body, did you notice if there were any shell casing around the vehicles or anything like
No,
that?
not at the time. Not yet.
Okay. Did you later find that
Yes,
there were?
yes. After we located 2 bodies, we started taking everything off and made our way back up. And that's when we located multiple shell casings around the vehicles.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the first 2 bodies that you located. Tell me how they were when you found them.
The male was laying on his back under his mother, and there was a tarp over the top of him.
What was the tarp? Do you know what it's made of? Or
It was like the camo nylon material, the mesh material.
were both bodies completely covered with that material?
Yeah, except for they had maybe their hand exposed on the side.
What'd you do at that point?
That's when, started communicating with other officers. Hey, we needed to secure the scene, start a crime log, and then look for and gather evidence.
Did you secure the scene at that time?
Yes.
What did you do to secure the scene?
We taped it off, cleared the area, and, contacted our supervisors so they could contact TBI.
Okay. All right. After finding those 2 bodies, were there ever any other bodies discovered?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
It was after Dyer County arrived. One of the Dyer County deputies noticed a shoe on the south side of the road, and I was standing with him. I noticed some red pools, what appeared to be blood, and it was just kind of shined in the woods. And you could see 2 more bodies under tarps.
Okay. Now, was this in the same area as the original 2 that you found?
No, this would have been south of them, across the gravel roadway. It was in the same area, but it was.
But how close were they to one another? Before you had the 2 initial bodies and then 2 others. How far apart were
Probably like 60 feet.
Were those bodies covered as well?
They were.
Same type material?
Same, yeah, same type material, tarp.
Were you able to identify who any of them were at that time?
No, not at that time.
Did you have any other involvement with this case?
I did not.
Come on, Charlie.
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Yes, sir. Mr. Huffman?
Few questions. Deputy Brady, okay, so you, were dispatched to this area, Carrington Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
You remember about what time that would be?
It was roughly 8 o'clock, I believe.
Are there dispatch logs recording times?
Yeah, that's correct.
When you arrived on scene, you said there was one 50-bill officer and another officer on scene, another deputy?
Lake County Sheriff's Deputy.
Okay. When you arrived on scene, and you noticed these things, you said that you secured the scene after you discovered the bodies, is that correct?
That's correct.
The first set of bodies, yes.
Yes.
All right. How many total officers were on scene at that point in time?
When we found the first set of bodies, there was just 3. No, 4, because a trooper had showed up right as we were entering the woods.
And you recall which officers those were?
Hayden, Trooper Hayden.
And did you write any reports or anything like that?
I did.
Would those names be located in that report as well?
Yes.
All right. You said when you were on scene, you secured the scene by taping it off?
That's correct.
All right. And how long after arriving on scene and discovering bodies did you do that?
It was within minutes.
All right. And contact your supervisors and they contact your TBI, is that correct?
That's correct.
Were you wearing your body worn camera at that time?
I was.
Was it active at that time?
Yes.
Is that footage backed up?
Yes.
It's available for discovery?
Yeah.
Were you in a marked vehicle?
I was.
Does that have a dash cam?
It does not.
The other officers, do you know if they had body cams or dash cams?
They have body cams. We don't have dash cams.
To your knowledge, were those active as well?
To my knowledge, yes.
And when you were securing the scene, were you doing any evidence collection?
We was marking evidence as we were finding it. Yeah.
Did you remove any items?
No.
Did you take any photos at that time?
I did not.
Yes, sir. Any ready to General?
No, Your Honor.
Deputy Brady, thank you, sir. You're releasing your subpoena. You are either free to go or free to stay, whichever you'd like to do, sir. Your next witness, General.
I'm gonna call Officer Brandon Wheeler.
Officer Wheeler. Officer Wheeler, please come to the witness stand, sir. And if you would, sir, please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear for testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God?
I swear. Thank you, sir. Be sure to speak in the microphone.
Will you state your name?
Detective Brandon Wheeler.
And Detective Wheeler, where do you work?
I work at the Dyersburg Police Department.
And were you involved in this investigation? Is it the case of why we're here today?
Yes.
Okay. What were you asked to do?
I'm not sure if Special Agent Harbor reached out to us or if we reached out offering assistance, but we were trying to identify a vehicle that was of interest.
Okay. And how are you trying to do that?
So we have 2 LPR systems. There's a Motorola LPR system and the flock camera system, and we were utilizing those to try to identify a Rogue, Nissan Rogue,
What is the LPR?
license plate reader.
And was there anything in particular about the Nissan Rogue that you were looking for?
Yeah, this one in question specifically had a California plate on it, which is not typical for our area.
Okay. And the city of Dyersburg had these 2 license plate readers, right?
There's more than 2, but there are several in the
Those,
city.
those systems,
Yes.
Flock and Motorola.
Yes,
And do you have the ability to access those, right?
I do.
And can you access any other ones?
We can access other cameras that other agencies have shared with us.
Okay. And did you do that as part of this investigation?
Yes.
Who else did you access?
I access There's several thousand agencies that openly share their cameras with us, so we can search all of them all at once.
And aside from Dyersburg, who else did you end up searching as it relates to this investigation?
The Jackson cameras.
I'm gonna hand you up some photographs. Do you recognize that one?
I do.
Okay, and what is it?
It's a picture of the silver Nissan Rogue with California plate.
All right, and what system did that come from? Flock or Motorola?
This is from the Flock system,
And is that in Jackson or Dyersburg?
Jackson.
And what time is that?
11:32 a.m. on the 29th of July.
And do you make that an exhibit to your testimony today?
Yes.
No, we have to make that state exhibit to.
Without objection.
No objection.
See, that's, we'll mark this as state exhibit 2, Ms. Jessica. Thank you.
And Officer Wheeler, do you recognize what's also been handed up to you now?
I do.
And, actually, give you this one first. You recognize that one as well?
I do.
Okay, and what is it?
It is a picture from the Motorola system in Dyersburg, capturing the vehicle going northbound Highway 78.
And that's the same road with the California license plate?
It is.
It's the same license plate as we saw in the first picture?
It is.
Okay. And what time of the day is that one captured?
This one was captured at 12:39 p.m. on July 20th.
And where is that one located? Where is that particular camera located at in Dyersburg?
That particular camera is located at the intersection of Lake Road and Radio Road, right in front of Love's.
Could you repeat that again, where it was, intersection of where?
Yeah. Lake Road and Radio Road,
Radio Road, okay, I'm sorry.
between Love's and Cracker Barrel.
And do you make that one an exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
No good.
Show this marked as State's Exhibit 3.
And then let's go back to the second picture that I actually handed up to you. You recognize that one as well?
I do.
Okay. And is it from the same camera that you just identified as the last picture?
It is from the same set of cameras facing a different direction.
Okay, which direction does that camera face?
This one is facing southbound towards the city.
All right. And what does it depict?
It shows a picture of the same Nissan Rogue California plate heading back in towards Dyersburg.
And what's the date and time on that?
This picture was taken at 2:15 p.m. on July 29th.
2025.
Correct.
You make that one exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
You're already asked to make that state exhibit.
Okay.
Absolutely. Show this marked as State's Exhibit number 4.
One more photo then.
Yes, sir.
Do you recognize that one as well?
I do.
And what system did it come from?
This is from the Flock system,
Is that in Jackson or Dyersburg?
Jackson.
And what date and time captures that one?
This picture was taken at 4:16 p.m. July 29th, 2025.
And does it depict the same road as we've seen in the previous one?
Yes, same road, same license plate.
Do you make that exhibit to your testimony as well?
I do.
And we'd ask to make that state exhibit 5. No objection.
Show this marked as State's Exhibit number 5.
You can have that passed back to Officer Rudy for your record tomorrow. Officer Wheeler, on that last photo, was there anything of significance that you noticed?
Yes, this is a photo taken from the front angle of the vehicle, and you can see the driver in this photo.
Okay. And can you describe the driver?
The driver appears to be a white male, has a goatee, and looks very similar to the defendant.
And is there anything that you noticed about the vehicle in that photograph?
Yes, so the vehicle in this photograph appears to be much dirtier, especially around the wheels and the rims, than it was previously earlier in the day.
You're not passing it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Huffman?
Just 2 questions. Detective Wheeler, so you were asked to look for a Nissan Rogue with California plates, is that correct?
I don't remember the exact parameters, but I believe we were looking for a Rogue and with California plates.
Did you have a plate number?
No, sir.
Once you located the vehicle in the photos that was presented in the evidence, did you continue looking for other Nissan Rogues with California tags?
Yes.
Did you find any more?
No.
And the only photo, I believe, was Exhibit 5, was the front view of the vehicles. There are other ones from the rear, is that correct?
I don't remember exactly, but I think they were all from the rear.
And then the one on Exhibit 5, which is from the front.
Yes.
That's all.
Any redirect, John?
No, Your Honor.
Detective Wheeler? Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. You're free to go, free to stay, whichever you choose to do, sir. Your next witness, General.
Special Agent Scott Hall.
Agent Lawson. Agent Lawson, if you please come to the witness stand, sir. And before you have a seat, if you would, sir, please raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, Your
State your name.
My name is Scott Lawson.
And do you work for the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
I do.
Okay, what is your current assignment with the FBI?
I'm a special agent on the Safe Streets Task Force.
Okay. And were you involved in the investigation as to this homicide in Lake County?
I was.
What role did you play?
Most of my experience is in the command post, assisting with cell phone analysis from tolls, working with timelines and video review to assist in the exploitation of cell phone data.
Okay. And have you received training on cell phone data?
I have.
What kind of training have you received?
I'm a member of the FBI's child abduction team, and we get yearly training with our cellular analysis survey team. That's the experts at FBI headquarters with analyzing cell phone data, geolocation data. So when we deploy with the child rapid deployment team, we are consistently working in partnership with the CAS team to analyze cell phone data and kind of feed each other back and forth to further investigations.
Okay. And is that what you did here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What specific cell phone data did you look at?
We started off our investigation by doing a deep analysis on the tolls of the victims' cellular telephones. When I say tolls, I'm speaking of the incoming and outgoing calls from the victims' phones to include records of incoming and outgoing text messages.
And when you did that, did you notice anything in particular?
Yes, we worked off a theory due to many of the victims arriving at the scene where they were murdered at various times, right? So they didn't all just appear there together. So we worked under the theory that someone must have organized a meeting or at least some type of reason to get the 4 victims to the crime scene. So as we were looking at the victims' tolls, we were looking for any unknown or unusual cell phone activity, particularly any cell phone number that would have contacted any of the victims consistent with maybe asking them to come to this location.
Okay. And did a number stand out?
There was one number that was immediately interesting. It showed up on the cell phone analysis at approximately 6:38 that morning, 6:38 a.m. That number was unknown as far as the tolls that we had analyzed to that point of known numbers of associates of the victims. In addition, another thing that we do when we're working these investigations is try to determine when the victims' phones stop taking calls, right? We're trying to work on a timeline. We're trying to narrow everything down so that our cell phone data is strong as possible. We noticed from the 4 victims' phones that none of the victims answered a call or made a call after 7:01 a.m. So knowing where they were located and when their phone stopped answering calls, we knew that whatever had happened to them had most likely happened right around or just before 7:01 a.m.
And the number that stood out, was that 731-345-7426?
It was.
And so prior to 6:38 that morning, it wasn't on any tolls of the victims.
Right. We subpoenaed the number and ascertained that that phone had just came on for the first time ever that morning, and that it had been purchased the night before at a Walmart in Dyersburg, Tennessee.
And so what else did you do next?
We asked for tolls for that cell phone number to ascertain who, at that time, we could only see when it had called one of the victims' phones, which we had their tolls. So we now asked for the tolls of the number ending in 7426. One of the first things we saw when those tolls came in is that at 7:01 was the last call with one of the victims, Adriana Williams. And at 7:25, it was calling persons associated with the rental of the Nissan Rogue car that was in question. So we knew pretty confidently that that number was very interesting to us. We then asked for the cell phone company to provide geolocation records for the cell phone 731-345-7426. And immediately we ascertained that that number had been at the crime scene and had started traveling south from the crime scene at approximately 7:24 a.m. As I mentioned earlier, my job is to combine the phone, the video reviews, and the timelines to make it tell a story, to help it assist in telling a story. We also had ascertained that Matt Wilson's vehicle was also going south from the crime scene, passing a camera at approximately 7:25 a.m. And the cell phone data put this newly identified cell phone number passing that same camera at a time consistent with Matt Wilson's truck going southbound.
And Mr. Wilson's truck is a late 80s F-150.
That's correct.
Can I ask one thing? I'm sorry. When you say passes the camera, are you referring to the camera that, where was that camera?
I should have been more specific. Yes, sir. So
I apologize. I didn't
no,
mean to throw you off.
absolutely.
Yes, sir.
There was a fire station on Highway 78 just north of the main intersection here, headed towards the crime scene. And that was the video that caught the F-150 traveling southbound at 7:25 a.m.
There had been some testimony about cameras, and I was trying to make sense of which one it was talking about. So
Yes, sir.
apologize for interrupting the agent. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
All right, Agent Austin, you had mentioned that 7426 called a number associated with the rental. Can you explain that?
Yes, due to some good work performed previously, there was a Nissan Rogue that had been identified that had been rented in Jackson, Tennessee the day before and picked up on the morning of the homicide. This vehicle was captured on license plate readers going northbound towards the crime scene and then going southbound away from the crime scene at a time later in the afternoon. In addition, there was some identification of the vehicle from a park ranger being seen at the location. The investigative team followed up with the rental agreement and with Enterprise Rental Car to learn about the who had rented this vehicle and identified a Michelle Obelis, I may not pronounce the last name correctly, Obelis, as being the renter. As that investigation continued, she had identified that the vehicle had been given to Austin Drummond and rented on Austin Drummond's behalf.
Okay. And did she have any connection to the defendant, Mr. Drummond?
Her boyfriend, Giovanni Thomas, was closely associated with Austin, and she was also closely associated with an individual named Tanaka Brown. Our phone toll analysis identified that at 7:25, as that number 731-345-7426 was leaving the crime scene, it was jumping on a three-way conference call with Tanaka Brown and Giovanni Thomas.
Okay. And then what happened next?
So Obviously, at this point, we were extremely interested in just learning everything we can about the user of this telephone number. We learned that upon departing the crime scene, it traveled to an area in Dyersburg commonly known as Bikini Bottoms. Bikini Bottoms used to be like an off-road recreation vehicle area for ATVs and such. When the phone arrived, and a point of interest, as this phone is traveling south towards Bikini Bottom, one of the victim's phones is traveling in concert with that phone. So that was very interesting to us as well. Both of those phones got to the Bikini Bottom area, and the phone 731-345-7426 arrived at Bikini Bottom at approximately 7:44 a.m. and stayed in the area to approximately 9:04 a.m. Based on what we do with violent crime investigations and the knowledge base that we have.
Coming in softly. Coming in softly. Turn your volume down for a second. SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, yes, Bikini Bottom. I didn't know it was a place. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh my goodness. SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, wow, Bikini Bottoms. Hey, Lynn. I blew. I killing me softly. I wanted to make sure I come in soft. Didn't want to go on the mic real hot. SpongeBob SquarePants. I never knew that was actually a place. Is that where they got it from? Mm-hmm. Wow. Never knew. Okay, y'all can turn y'all volume back up. I'll make sure I just blow when it's time.
We theorized that something as far as getting rid of evidence or weapons or something had happened at that Bikini Bottom area.
And in fact, did it?
It did. There was, based on the phone data and the investigation in whole, search parties were organized to go to Bikini Bottom. On the day that these phone tolls were being worked, they initially found a Tennessee driver's license for Matthew Wilson. And the next day, we found Mr. Wilson's vehicle down a ravine there at Bikini Bottom.
And that's the late 80s F-150 truck?
Yes, sir.
Did 7426 stay at Bikini Bottom?
It stayed there till about 9:04 a.m. And then it began a southeastwardly travel towards Jackson, Tennessee.
Right. And did it eventually reach Jackson?
It did.
Do you know what time?
Refer to my notes for a more specific time. We saw it arriving in the Jackson, Tennessee area at approximately 10:04 a.m.
And where did the phone go while it was in Jackson?
The phone first travels to an area consistent with the Clarion Hotel in Jackson, Tennessee. It then moves towards the Cherry Grove Apartments, and then eventually towards back up toward Dyersburg.
Okay, let's stay in Jackson for a minute. Was there any significance to the Clarion Hotel?
Through the investigation, the Clarion was identified as a place where Austin Drummond resided regularly and potentially used as a place to organize criminal activity.
And was his vehicle at the Clarion?
The information from the investigation is that his personal vehicle, the Audi, was at the Clarion. Mr. Tanaka Brown, who picked him up at Bikini Bottoms, drove him back to his vehicle at the Clarion, and then followed him to Cherry Grove to depart, to leave the Audi sedan.
Was there any significance to the Cherry Grove apartment?
Cherry Grove Apartments is where Mr. Drummond's girlfriend, Caitlin Speed, resided. The investigation revealed that when his vehicle was departed at the Cherry Grove apartment complex, that he ascertained some cleaning style brushes at the apartment.
And then you said after that it starts moving back north towards Dyersburg?
There's a little time with it still being in Jackson, but by 11:55 a.m., the phone began a northwestern travel towards Bells, Tennessee.
And then it reaches Dyersburg?
We have the phone in conjunction with the license plate readers being in Dyersburg at 12:39 p.m. and by 1:04 p.m. being back north of Tiptonville near the crime scene.
And did it stay at the crime scene very long?
The phone appeared to stay, and just one note of reference for an education and this geolocation stuff with phones. You get these records either when a phone call is placed, a text message is placed, or some type of data transfer between the phone and the network. So Instagram sends you a notification, or your bank pops up and says you overdrafted. Like any kind of data transfer, you'll get a location data. But a person could be at a place a couple minutes before, and we would not see that due to if there was no data transmission, could stay at a place a couple minutes after. These time frames are based on a call being made or a data transfer happening. So the last data transfer we saw near the crime scene was at 1:14 p.m.
All right, and then what happened?
1:38, we started seeing timing advanced data southbound from the crime scene. Timing advanced data is how a cellular tower communicates with the handheld phone device. So in a nutshell, the cell phone towers that you see have 3 sectors that cover a 360-degree circle. Each of these sectors cover approximately 120 degrees. When a phone is on a network, it's constantly sending some type of signal to the phone to determine how far away it is from that network. And the primary reason is a business sense from the phone company. They need to know which tower that phone should be using to have the strongest reception or the strongest data capability. So as that ping is going to that phone and coming back to that tower, if it's getting a little too far away or maybe a little closer to another tower, it'll tell it to start communicating with the stronger tower. So what we can do in law enforcement is we can ask to obtain that timing advanced data. And what that will do is say, when the phone was making that call or having that data transaction, what sector is it on, what 120-degree arc from the tower, and how long did it take that communication to go to the phone and back. So if you have 120 degrees and you're measuring the time from the tower to the phone and back, you're able to say that phone is somewhere in that arc that represents the amount of time from the tower and back.
So at 1:38, you start seeing timing advanced data moving south from the crime scene?
That's correct.
Okay. And what happened next?
Still tracking south towards Dyersburg through 2:14 p.m. Then we have another license plate reader hit in Dyersburg at 2:15 p.m. From the next timing advanced data of significance was from 2:32 to 2:35. it was tracking towards Friendship, where the 8-month-old Westland was dropped off. The phone hit a arc right over the house where the baby was dropped off at approximately 2:35 p.m.
Did you say the phone hit a arc? What does that mean?
So when the phone made either a data transfer or a phone call or a text message at 2:35, the phone communicated with the tower in an amount of time consistent that it had to be in an arc that covered the area of the home where the baby was dropped off.
So then what happened after that?
Around 2:35 to 2:55, the phone starts slowly going back northbound towards Dyersburg. We learned through our investigation by 3:11 p.m. that a 911 call was coming in about the child being in the yard. From 2:57 to 3:23, the phone starts tracking towards Bells, Tennessee, southeast again, eventually towards Jackson.
And does it eventually reach Jackson?
It does. At 3:39 p.m., the telephone number was back in the Jackson, Tennessee area. Of great significance to the investigative team, at 4:22 p.m., I'll try to explain this. It's a little bit difficult, but I mentioned the arcs where a phone can be in. So if you've got a sector pointing this way and you have the arc, but if you're in a city and you got multiple towers close, sometimes you'll see the arc from this tower and then the other tower facing back at you, you'll see its arc. So if you ever have two arcs intercept, you can not only say the phone is in the arc, you can say it's exactly you can say with great confidence that the phone is where the two arcs intercept. You almost have to see that, but where the two arcs from two towers intersected from 4:22 p.m. to 6:06 p.m. was right over Austin Drummond's parents' home.
Then did he leave his parents' home?
Approximately 6:34, we saw the phone being in an area consistent with the Clarion Hotel again. And then at 8:44 p.m., we saw the phone being in an area consistent with being back at Cherry Grove Apartments at Caitlin Speed's residence. And then of note, the phone went off the network. Well, let me mention this. Of note, that Lake County received a 911 call at 8:17 p.m., kind of alerting the family and the public to what's going on. The phone went off the network for the last time ever at 8:44 p.m. So the phone was just turned on for that day and then was never used again after 8:44 p.m.
Thank you, Agent Lawson.
Yes.
Mr. Huffman.
Good question, Agent Lawson.
Yes.
So your role in this case was essentially limited to the cell phone data analysis, correct?
Cell phone analysis and just assisting with interpretation in the command posts of the timeline, the video, and the phone data.
Okay. All right. Now, I actually understand what you're talking about with the triangulation regarding those things. The only way, so when you have cell phone data, my understanding is, and Bruce also from your testimony, there are 120-degree arcs. You typically, cell towers have three areas, encompassing 360 degrees. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. Now, in order to determine the position of the cell phone, you can tell which sector it's in, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
And unless you have the timing advance data, you do not have a distance from the tower, correct?
Right, that requires the timing advance data.
All right. So if you do not have the timing advance data, you just know it's somewhere in that sector.
Yes,
And that could be large area, square miles, correct?
yes, sir.
Right. How many of these locations did you have timing advance data? For instance, you said there's one where the timing advance data gave you triangulation directly over Austin from his parents' house.
Yes,
A couple times you testified that you had the cell phone at the crime scene.
yes.
Was that given with the timing advance data, or was that just in the general area with the sector?
That was with timing advance data, but it would be with one arc. So it could be in a great length of area in an arc, but the arc was over the crime scene.
Okay, so you did have a sector and an arc.
Yes.
That was my question. Did determined who purchased that cell phone? You said it was purchased in Walmart in Dyersburg. Is there any evidence who purchased that phone?
We believe that 2 of the victims purchased the phone the night before.
Do you have any evidence that Austin Drummond purchased that phone?
Not him personally, no, sir.
In Bikini Bottom, you said that you located the Tennessee license of Matthew Wilson as well as his truck in ravine, is that correct?
The truck was in a ravine. My understanding is the Tennessee VL was a paper copy, and it was not down the hill. It was up more in a kind of common area, but it wasn't down the ravine.
Were you involved in that search or processing that scene?
No, sir. No, sir.
Yes, sir. Any redirect, General?
No, Your Honor.
Agent Clausen, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your next witness, General.
Special Agent Justin Tubbs.
Agent Tubbs, if you would please come to the witness stand, sir. If at any time any of the parties need to take a break, use the restroom or do anything, just let me know and I'll be happy to do that. I just forgot to mention that. Agent Tubbs, raise your right hand, sir, please.
You solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Would you state your name, please?
Justin Tubbs
And Special Agent Tubbs, where do you work, sir?
with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation.
How long have you worked there?
I've been there since 2018.
And do you recall, were you on call or were you called on the evening of July 29th, 2025?
I was called, yes.
Do you know what the purpose of that call was?
Lake County Sheriff's Department had been called to an area out by the prison where 2 vehicles I had received emails about the child that was missing that morning or that afternoon
From Dyer County?
from Dyer County, and the parents of the child plus the grandmother and the uncle of the child. So whenever I was called, I was told their vehicles and the deceased victims had been found out at the end of Carrington Road.
Okay. Did you go to that scene?
I did.
Once you got to that scene, what did you see?
There were members of not only the Dyer County Sheriff's Department, Lake County Sheriff's Department, Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, because it was on their land. But there was also some special agents from the TBI who had also been called to come out and assist me. Once we got out there, I saw the black Charger that was known to be driven by Braden Williams, 15-year-old child, and a white Traverse that was known to be driven by Courtney Rose.
Was anyone inside the vehicles?
They were not.
What'd you do after locating those vehicles?
We had Deputy Hunter Brady walk us around the scene as to what he had discovered whenever he first came upon the scene. And he showed us inside of the white Traverse, there was a red, brownish stain substances that are consistent with what I know to be blood. And then he showed us.
And let me ask this. Do you know who that white Traverse belonged to?
It was known to be driven by Courtney Rose.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And if you drive down Carrington Road, to the left where it kind of comes to a dead end, it's almost like a parking lot where these vehicles were parked. Behind that is whenever you start walking into the woods, same as what the deputy before was talking about. If you cross the road, you have wooded area in front of you. So the deputy took us to the back of the parking lot and showed us where Braden Williams and Miss Courtney Rose were laying. They were covered with what looked like to be camouflage burlap, which is commonly used with hunting that I know of. And then he walked us in front of the parking lot across the road where the bodies of Adriana Williams and Matthew Wilson were at. And they were also covered with the same type of burlap.
Were you able to, were they all deceased?
They were.
When you arrived?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to determine the cause of death at that time? What, not a medical cause, but what appeared to be.
The injuries were consistent with gunshot wounds that all 4 victims had,
Were you able to determine how many gunshot wounds there were?
not at the time.
Were you able to at a later time?
Yes, whenever the medical examiner out of Nashville called me with preliminary findings, he informed me of how many wounds and type of wounds that each victim had.
What type of wounds did Courtney Rose have?
She had been shot in the head
How many times?
at least once that I remember.
What about Braden Williams?
He had been shot in the back of the head.
What about Adriana Williams?
She had also been shot in the head.
And what about Matthew Wilson?
Mr. Wilson had been shot in multiple places in his body for approximately 11 times.
I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. Please, please. Please help me. Please.
Go ahead, Joe. Was there a, you had said earlier that there was an infant that had been found in Dyer County.
Yes, sir.
I assume, did you find any evidence of an infant that may have been there?
I didn't see any evidence in the vehicle at the time. Whenever we realized the totality of the scene, myself and my immediate supervisor that was on the scene, we decided to call the violent crime response team that TBI has, and we stepped back away from the scene and secured it until they got there.
And after they got there and they processed the scene, did you continue with the investigation?
We did. We set up a command post away from the crime scene at the Old National Guard Armory here in Tiptonville.
Were you eventually able to develop a suspect in these homicides?
They were a person of interest, yes.
And who was that?
Mr. Austin Drummond.
Did you see him in court
I
today?
do.
You identified him?
He's a gentleman sitting at the defense table in the inmate uniform.
After getting there, you said that there were 2 vehicles there. Did you get information that there may have been a 3rd vehicle?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
We were told by Miss Kim Hamill, which is Mr. Wilson's mother, that he drove a older model F-150.
You know what color it was?
It was white with a red stripe down the side of it.
Was that vehicle out there that day?
It was not.
Did you think that maybe that was something you needed to be looking for?
Yes, sir.
What did you do?
Chief Joe England with the Tiptonville Police Department, before we got to Tiptonville, had already been looking at video from the Tiptonville Fire Department. There's a camera there. And he had found video of the victims arriving that morning, passing the fire department, driving north out towards Carrington Road. And then I believe there was video of the truck returning a few minutes later, about an hour or so later.
Okay. And you said that was footage from the Tiptonville Fire Department?
Correct.
Okay. Did you review that footage yourself?
I did not. I mean, I did look at pictures that Chief
At a
was
later
sending us.
time.
Correct. We obtained the entire video. We sent an agent to Tiptonville to obtain video not only from the fire department and other places of interest along Highway 78.
One thing that we usually look at on security cameras is the date and time.
Correct.
Did you check that on these cameras?
On the fire department camera, I did ask the chief to check what the time on the timestamp was on the camera footage versus the real time.
Okay. And was it accurate?
It was not.
Okay. What, about how far off was it, just approximately?
Approximately 53 minutes.
53 minutes, okay. Was the date correct?
Yes.
All right. Maybe worth it. I'm gonna show you a video right there. And I'm just gonna go ahead and move over to the point that we're interested in.
General, while you're pulling that up, I want to ask one question. You're saying, I just heard a moment ago, you said on the time period right there, which is marked in the right-hand corner of the screen, bottom right-hand corner, that is actually, if it's saying 5:35, it's actually 53 minutes ahead in time. Is that what you're saying?
So if it's 5:35, it's going to be 53 minutes. So the time that's on there is 53 minutes.
Okay, so it should be 6:28 or 6, somewhere around 6.
Approximately.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make sure of that. Thank you.
Okay, I want you to look at this camera that in the fire department. Tell me if you can tell me what these, I'm sorry, let me back just a second. You recognize that white vehicle?
It appears to be the white Traverse of Miss Courtney Rose.
And what direction is that vehicle traveling?
It is traveling north.
And what, in relation to the fire department, where is the crime scene?
If you're looking at the road, the direction that the car is traveling is the direction of Carrington Road.
So that car will be traveling in the direction of the crime scene.
Correct.
And then you recognize that vehicle?
It appears to be the vehicle that Mr. Braden Williams would have been driving.
Okay. And this would have been, since the time is off, approximately 6:28, somewhere around that time.
Correct.
Once again, this is typical fire department camera. Is that right?
Correct. Pointed south.
You recognize that vehicle?
I do. That is the vehicle that appears to be driven by Mr. Matthew Wilson.
Is that the vehicle that was not at the scene that you were looking for?
It was not at the scene.
And the time, once again, it's not correct. So is it approximately 20, 22, 23 minutes after the first two vehicles came by?
That's correct.
And then did you later find a video from the fire department as well of one of the vehicles or any of the vehicles leaving the scene?
We did.
Was there a video of all three vehicles leaving?
No, sir.
How many vehicles were actually leaving the scene?
It was a video. On this video, it only captured the truck of Mr. Matthew Wilson.
Was it Mr. Matthew Wilson in the truck or was it just his truck?
It was just his truck, from what I can tell. I couldn't see. I can't ascertain who was in the vehicle.
The same vehicle leaving the scene?
It appears to be, yes.
Okay. Now, you heard testimony from Agent Lawson previously about the phone calls. And there was talk about a phone call that connected, on the cell phone that was at the scene, then left the scene, and then was eventually at Austin Drummond's parents' home. Was it at the same time that coordinates with this video?
Yes,
Now, did you also obtain video footage from Williams' garage?
it was obtained. I haven't viewed it.
Now, were you able to determine that the time on that one was actually correct?
I do remember being told that they had the correct timeline.
So, now, is this south of the fire department?
It is heading back towards Dyersburg.
Okay, so if you're coming from Dyersburg to the crime scene, this camera would have caught the vehicles first and then the fire department.
Correct. The Mexican restaurants are to the left of the screen, and then you have the mural that's painted on these little grain bins or chemical bins.
Okay. Is that the same white Traverse we saw previously?
It does appear to be the same watch.
And that time is 6:27 a.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that time is actually accurate. That's the time the vehicles were actually going towards the crime scene.
The real time, whenever this video was seized or collected, was the same time as what the live image on the screen that they were watching the video was. So yes, that's the correct time.
So that would have been the correct time. And then the black vehicle that is trailing,
That appears to be the same Dodge Charger that was at the crime scene.
that the red and white truck once again.
It is.
Can you tell how many people are in that vehicle?
There appears to be 2 occupants of the vehicle.
And that time, 6:50 a.m., that would be the accurate time?
That's correct.
So about 20 minutes after the first 2 vehicles came by.
Yes, sir.
And we'll show you one other. That's the same vehicle now leaving the crime scene.
It appears to be.
And once again, the time on that.
It's 07:25 a.m.
So approximately 30 minutes after it passed by the first time.
That's correct.
Can you tell if there's 2 people in the vehicle?
It doesn't appear to be. I can't see anybody in the vehicle from here.
You see anyone in the passenger seat?
You mind if I stand up?
No, go ahead.
I don't mind.
Do not.
Do you know how far it is from the Mexican restaurant there to the crime scene that you were driving?
Just a few minutes. I'm not sure on the mileage. Maybe 2-3 miles,
Maybe 10 minutes?
maybe.
We've got about a 30-minute gap there from the time that the vehicle passes here, gets to the crime scene, and then comes back to that point.
That's correct.
Did you later find that red and white vehicle?
We did.
Where was it found?
It was found in the Bikini Bottoms area. The day before the paper copy of Mr. Wilson's driver's license had been found, I believe it's commonly known as the Three Cross Memorial or the Caris Memorial. It had been found by some citizens. We had some people go out there and collect it. The agent at the time believed he saw it was getting close to dark. Believed he saw some tire tracks going down the gully, there being whatever you want to call it. So we set up a search for the next morning. That morning we had TBI out there, Tennessee Wildlife Resources, members of the Dyer County Sheriff's Department, and they found that truck down that ravine covered by kudzu bones.
Now, if we can go back one other thing, the video that we just showed, the truck as it was leaving Tiptonville, was at 7:25 a.m. Okay. When you heard the testimony of Agent Lawson, did you hear him testify that there was a three-way call taking place at that exact time, 7:25 a.m.
Yes, sir.
between Austin Drummond, Tanaka Brown? Okay, let me rephrase that.
The house is staying back.
That there was a call from that phone that is of interest to Tanaka Brown and Giovanni Thomas.
Correct. The phone that had been at the crime scene that was activated that morning that we later found out was bought by the victims the night before. There was a call to Mr. Gio Thomas and Mr. Tanaka Brown.
And at that exact time that it was passing that Mexican restaurant, 7:25 a.m., the call was getting made.
Approximately correct, the exact time. Yes, sir.
All right, so now let me go back to the vehicle that was found. Did you receive any information about how the vehicle got there? Got to Bikini Bottoms?
Correct. We interviewed Miss Michelle Ovelis a couple of times, and she ended up telling us that she was told by Tanaka Brown that he had met Mr. Drummond with the baby out in that area and given him a ride back to Jackson.
Okay. Did you talk to Tanaka Brown about that?
We did.
Did he admit any of those things?
He did.
Did he make any statements about assisting to push the vehicle?
He did not, but he did make that statement to Miss Ovelis's boyfriend, Gio Thomas.
Did Mr. Brown bring anything with him when he picked up Mr. Drummond?
During an interview with Mr. Brown, he informed me that whenever he was on that three-way call with Mr. Drummond, Gio Thomas, that Mr. Drummond had asked him for a ride, and he also told him to pick up cleaning supplies. But he said he stopped at Walmart in Jackson and bought gloves, bleach, and trash bags.
Do you know if those supplies were used at that crime scene or at the scene of the truck?
We were told by Mr. Brown and Miss Ovelis that whenever they returned the vehicle, there was cleaning supplies and trash bags in the trunk along with a gas can.
Okay. So Mr. Tanaka Brown admits that he picks up Mr. Drummond and the baby from Bikini Bottoms.
Correct. He also told
and takes them where?
Takes them to, the first place he took them was to the Clarion Hotel in Jackson off Carriage House Drive. That's where Mr. Drummond's Audi vehicle was parked. Mr. Drummond got the vehicle. Mr. Brown and him went to Cherry Grove Apartments where they dropped the Audi off. They continued on from there with the child in the car to the apartment of Gio Thomas and Michelle Ovelis to retrieve the rental car.
Okay. And the rental car, what type of rental car was it?
It was a Nissan Rogue.
Do you remember the color?
It was a silver or light gray.
And what type of license plate did it have?
It did have California tags on it.
And have you received information previously from a wildlife officer that may have seen that vehicle?
He is a state park ranger, Mr. Corey Hussey. He had seen a Nissan SUV along with the two victims' vehicles out on Carrington Road earlier that afternoon. And the distinguishing feature on that Nissan vehicle was it had California tags.
Okay. And you actually were able to determine that it was a rental vehicle.
Correct. Whenever we ran the information on that license plate, we found that it was a rental for Enterprise Rental Car, and it had been picked up at the Enterprise location over in Jackson by the bowling alley.
And do you know who rented that vehicle, who picked it up?
Michelle Vellis had reserved that vehicle on the night of the July 28th.
And you said that you had talked with Ms. Ovellis.
We had.
Why did she rent that car?
She stated on the night of the 28th, Mr. Drummond, but she knew him as AD, came to her residence and asked her to rent him a vehicle to be picked up at noon the following day on the 29th.
And did he actually pick that vehicle up?
He
Mr.
picked it.
Drummond, did he actually pick
He
it
didn't pick it up from Enterprise. He picked it up from her residence later on the 29th at approximately, she said, between 10 and 11 a.m.
Do you know if he was alone at the time he picked up the vehicle?
Ms. Ovellis and Mr. Thomas both told us that Mr. Brown, Mr. Tanaka Brown, was with him whenever he arrived and obtained the rental vehicle and left in it.
And about what time was it that he left? After he picked up the vehicle and left their residence?
She stated it was sometime between 10 and 11 a.m.
And that was in Jackson?
That was in Jackson
Okay.
on the 29th of July.
All right. We've heard evidence already about flock cameras and about looking for footage. Were you able to determine that vehicle actually did have a direction of travel after it was picked up?
Correct. We had it on camera sometime after 11 o'clock, or we did find that it was on camera sometime after 11 o'clock leaving Jackson.
Okay. Which direction did it go?
It was headed north.
And once again, is the crime scene north of Jackson?
It is.
Did it eventually make its way to Dyersburg and then back to Lake County?
It did. It was recorded at the intersection over by Love's and Cracker Barrel in Dyersburg,
Okay.
heading towards Lake County, north towards Lake County.
And was the picture clear enough to see if it was clean, dirty, anything about it?
It was. It appeared to be a cleaner car.
Was it later seen coming back into Dyersburg?
It was.
And was there a difference in the car as far as the cleanliness of the car?
I do not recall if it was the camera there in Dyersburg or if it was a camera in Jackson, but it did appear to be dusty from the midline of the doors, including the tires and rims.
Okay. The road out on Carrington Road, is it a paved road out to the area of the crime scene?
From what I recall, when you first turn onto the road, it's semi-paved and turns into a gravel road.
And
And the area where the crime scene actually is, where the cars and the bodies were, was a gravel parking lot.
do you have to drive a good distance on that gravel portion of the drive?
You did.
Now, we reviewed video cameras previously of the Dodge Charger, the white Traverse, the red and white pickup truck Ford F-150. Was there also video that captured the Nissan Rogue in Tiptonville?
I believe there was a video. I don't recall which establishment that video is from.
Okay. Once again, you did receive video images from Williams Garage.
Correct.
If you would, I'd like to show you the video. Does that appear to be the Nissan Rogue that had been rented?
Yes, it's a light silver, maybe a gray Rogue. It looks to have a license plate on the front of it, unlike what Tennessee requires.
And that was gonna be my next question. Does California require a license plate on the front and back?
They normally do, yes.
And did this vehicle have a California plate on the front and back?
Other images that I've seen of it did have a California plate on the front and the back, yes.
Just as this appears to have.
Correct.
And that time, once again, is 1:08:52.
That's correct.
So this is probably maybe, what, an hour and a half from the time the vehicle was picked up in Jackson?
It was picked up somewhere after a
I'm softly whispering in your ears. Is anybody listening? Yes, sweet nothings before I blow your eardrums out. Okay, so quick question, guys. I know y'all gotta, it's all kind of creepy. Well, I don't want to be up in y'all ear making love to your eardrums or anything. I ain't trying to do that, but I don't know. I don't know no better way to come up in. I don't know. I don't want to blow your eardrums out, and I know my mouth is big. Okay, check it. Question. Because I do want to make sure that since we watching this, that's fine. I wanted to know, do y'all want me to show the Megan Boswell sentencing for the baby Evelyn case? That's what I wanted to find out. Because I had an alert on, and if y'all wanted to see it, I wanted to make sure. Hey, Patty, welcome. Okay, so when that comes on, I'll stop it. Oh, good. Okay, Merelda, yeah, take her keyboard. Lock her keyboard up. Hers has to be locked up with files. All right. All right, I will switch it to that when it comes time. I just wanted to make sure that everybody wanted to see it. Okay, cool. We won't go to another room. We'll just play it right here.
It was leaving Jackson probably approximately 11:30 from what I would call. It'd probably be about an hour and a half or so, a little bit more than an hour and a half.
More than an hour and a half from the time it left Jackson. So, okay. All right, and I'm going to show you one other video. And once you notice that time, 13:08. Do you recall the time that the vehicle was seen by the park ranger?
Whenever we first interviewed him, he believed that he saw it somewhere between 1 and 1:15.
And that was 1:08. Is that correct?
Correct.
Does that appear to be the same vehicle going back towards Jackson?
It was.
So it was originally 1:08, it's now 1:33, so approximately 20 minutes or less from the time that it was seen previously. Is that right?
Correct.
So that'd be just about enough time to go over there, turn around, and come right back.
It would be.
Did you have information that at this time, the infant was still with Mr. Drummond in the vehicle?
Yes. Whenever Mr. Brown told us that he dropped whenever they arrived at the house of Ovelis, or the residence of Ovelis and Thomas, he stated that Mr. Drummond transferred not only the baby, but the cleaning supplies he had bought to the road and left the residence with it. So we had no other reason to think that the baby wasn't with him at this time, especially since it didn't get dropped off until after 3 p.m. in there.
Okay. So that was 1:40 when he was going back towards Dyersburg, and then approximately an hour and 20 minutes later when the call comes in.
The 911, the Dyer County 911 call, yes, sir.
Okay. And this may be a silly question, but do you know if Mr. Drummond was the legal guardian of the child?
No, he wasn't the legal guardian of the child.
You know if he had custody of that child, had permission to have the child?
No.
Now, you did request cell phone data, which we've heard from already, is that right?
Correct. We had started working with our, as soon as before we even set up our command post, we started contacting our agent, Andy Valley, who also works with FBI agent Carla Rexing, who also analyzes phones and the type of data that Agent White does. And he started submitting paperwork to AT&T and other companies for the victims' phones to start getting their data.
Okay. Were you able to determine where the phone came from?
The phone in question that Agent Scott
Yes.
Wilson. Dyer County Sheriff's Department had, whenever they gathered the video from Walmart the night before on the 28th, they also got a receipt from Walmart showing that a purchase by the victims of the burlap, the camouflage burlap, or similar camouflage burlap that was at the crime scene, along with a cell phone. Sorry, Gerald.
Do you recognize that
This is the receipt I've seen. Correct.
from the cell phone purchase?
Right.
And do you know who it was that purchased that cell phone?
At the time, I was told it was one of the victims. I believe, or I do recall that I've been told that Mr. Braylon Williams was actually seen on camera purchasing the phone.
Did you make that exhibit your testimony?
I will.
Without objection, Mr. Huffman. Show this mark as Stacy, Exhibit 6.
Were you able to determine if that cell phone was used to call any family or friends of Austin Drummond?
Yes, that cell phone was used to call Geo Thomas, who in turn put Mr. Brown on the phone on the three-way call that morning.
Did you interview Mr. Geo Thomas?
We did.
Did he admit to you that he did have that three-way call and was he part of the conversation about picking up Mr. Drummond?
That's correct. He did.
And that was to pick him up from Bikini Bottoms.
Right.
Now, I've shown you videos. We've also had the cell phone data. Have you reviewed both of those prior to today? Have you looked at those, looked at that data?
I have some of it, correct.
Okay. Would it be accurate to say that the cell phone data, the timing on the cell phone data and the timing on the videos match?
From the evidence I've seen that's been collected and presented during the investigation, yes, it did match.
When were you able to take Austin Drummond into custody?
He was taken into custody on, it would have been that Tuesday after, I believe it was August 6, 2025.
So a week later?
Correct.
After After being taken into custody, are you aware of any statements that Mr. Austin Drummond has made while being incarcerated?
I've been listening to his phone calls, correct?
Did he give an interview with a reporter in Nashville?
Yes, he did.
And in that interview, did he admit that he was at the scene at the time of the murders?
He did.
Did he also admit that he had dropped the child off on the side of the road at Dyersburg?
I don't recall that part of it. No.
Are you aware of the fact that Austin Drummond has previous felony convictions?
He does.
Yes, sir.
And I'll pass the witness.
Yes, sir. Mr. Huffman?
Good afternoon, Agent Tubbs. A
Yes,
few
sir.
questions. Would it be fair to say that you were the lead agent on this case?
I'm the case agent, correct?
So you pretty much have seen most of the information as it comes in. For instance, the medical examiner's report. You have preliminary reports, right?
I had a preliminary phone call. I haven't received a report yet.
So that is still in process, correct?
Correct.
Now, you said you called the violent crime scene, I guess, investigative team, is that what was the name of that team?
The violent crime response team is essentially our crime scene unit.
Okay. And they were the ones who processed the scene.
Correct.
Did you have any involvement in processing the scene?
I did not.
All right. Do you recall how many were any shell cases recovered?
There was.
Do you recall how many?
I did not. I was not told the number.
Do you know what type of cases were recovered?
So this is an area where people go out and target practice, from what I was told. I'm not from Lake County. There were a few different kinds of calibers out there. The violent crime response team leader, Special Agent Forensic Scientist Julian Conyers, I had a conversation with him. He said the majority of the cartridge casings that was around the White Rogue were 45 caliber.
But there were multiple shell casings, multiple types of shell casings.
Multiple calibers of shell casings, correct? Cartridge casings.
Now, did you process the scene at all yourself?
I did not. We stepped back and called them.
Did they take photos, that sort of thing?
They take photos, they take measurements, they collect evidence, the whole
Any
range.
video tape?
They usually do. I'm not sure on this one. So whenever they finish processing and they do all their evidence, all that, they will create what they call a crime scene investigation report with the photos and everything. That's still in the process.
That's not completed. So
Last I checked this week, it was not completed yet.
typically, you guys just don't carry body cams like that. Did you have a body cam?
I did not.
Regarding the video with time delta, how did you determine that it was 53 minutes slow? How did you determine that?
Whenever I was talking with Chief England, I asked him what the time was on what he was looking at live on the video camera, because he went back to the fire department to see how far was behind, or if he could get any more video of any of the victims' vehicles, any other vehicles that might be suspicious. And I asked him to look at what the real time was in the live video versus what like what was on his watch. And he found that it was 53 minutes behind.
During the course of your investigation, were you able to gather any evidence as to why these victims were on the scene?
During interviews, yes, we were told by family a possibility about why they were out on the scene.
And what was that possibility?
The introduction of contraband into the Northwest Correctional Facility.
Were you able to obtain any evidence regarding that?
Regarding them being part of it.
Well, you said that the potential introduction of contraband in Northwest. Was there any contraband found on the scene?
No, there wasn't any on the scene that I'm aware of. I have not been told by the violent crime response team what was in the car, but that has not come up in our discussions.
Yes, sir. Any redirect, General?
One of the things I felt that includes the actual videos. I played those. Make that get your testimony.
I would.
No further questions.
Agent Tubbs, you may have a seat. Please go whichever you choose to do. Thank you, sir. The next witness.
The only other proof we have is we do have certified copies of the verification of death for each agent.
Without objection. Show the CD being entered with the video of the point as States Exhibit 7, and then this being on as States Exhibit 7. Or 8, I'm sorry. I apologize, number 8. That concludes the state's proof.
It does, Your Honor.
Mr. Rumpel. Then we should be heard on argument.
Yes. You've heard all the proof in this case. There's a real tight timeline with this case, and we think that we can show that. We think we've shown that today with cell phone data and as well as video footage. But just to go back through that, and just to go back through this timeline, I want to go back and highlight these things. At 6:27 a.m., the Dodge Charger and the Chevrolet Traverse are going north towards the crime scene on the fire department camera in Tiptonville. At 6:38, there's an outgoing call from the phone, and when I talk about the phone, it's going to be the phone in question that was purchased the night before. There's an outgoing call from that phone to Adriana. At 6:47 a.m., the truck driven by Matthew Wilson, the red and white vehicle, comes into Tiptonville, is northbound, goes towards the crime scene. At 6:45 a.m., I'm sorry, 6:54 a.m., there's the first time advance bar on the cell phone, and that is near Tiptonville. At 7:01 a.m., there's an outgoing call to Adriana once again, and that's the last call to Adriana. It lasted 32 seconds.
Which one? What time was that, General?
That was 7:01 a.m. At 7:25 a.m., red and white vehicle is seen traveling southbound on the video in Tiptonville, going past Williams Garage and the Mexican restaurant. And at that same time, a call starts at 7:25 and it lasts until 7:29. That's a three-way call from that phone that's in question to Giovanni Thomas and Tanaka Brown. Both of those individuals did admit in their testimony today that they were on the phone with Austin Drummond at that time. 7:26 a.m., time advance data shows that that phone is now moving south. At 7:44, I'm sorry, let me back up. Between 7:25 and 10:06 a.m., there are approximately 15 calls between that phone number and Giovanni Thomas. At 7:44 a.m. and up until 9:04 a.m. So almost a 2-hour period, a little short of, I'm sorry, not 2 hours, almost an hour, a little over 45, 50 minutes. It shows that the phone is actually at Bikini Bottoms in Dyer County and it's stationary, it's sitting there. From 9:17 to 10:04, the time advance showed that there was southbound movement once again. This time it's going towards Jackson. And this is at the time that testimony was that Tanaka Brown had drove from Jackson to Bikini Bottoms to help push the red and white vehicle into the ravine, pick up Austin Drummond and the child, and drive them back to Jackson. He drove them to the Clareton Inn to pick up the Audi. He then went to pick up a vehicle from Gio and Michelle, and that was a rental vehicle. He had the baby with him this entire time. At the time of 11:55 until 12:07 p.m., we now have a different vehicle. We have the Nissan Rogue with a California license plate that is traveling northbound towards Bells. At 12:39 p.m., that vehicle is seen by license plate readers going through Dyersburg, still traveling north. Between 1:04 and 1:14, is the approximate time that the cell phone that's been in question the entire time is back at the crime scene. The phone was initially at the crime scene. It left the crime scene. It made phone calls, which witnesses say were made by Austin Drummond. It went to Bikini Bottoms. It went to Jackson. It got the rental car, and now it is back at the crime scene once again. This is between 104 and 114. At 115, your testimony from the park ranger stated that there was a black Charger, a white Traverse, and a Nissan Rogue with a California license plate. He said it left quickly as soon as he passed the vehicle. Between 1:38 and 2:14 p.m., time advance data showed movement going southbound once again from the crime scene back towards Jackson, Dyer County and Jackson. At 2:15 p.m., the rental vehicle is southbound, according to license plate readers. Between 2:32 and 2:35, it's in the area where the baby was eventually dropped in Friendship. At 2:55, the time advance showed that the cell phone and vehicle was northbound towards Dyersburg. And just a few minutes later, 3:11 p.m., the 911 call came in. The baby had been dropped. And keep in mind that Mr. Drummond admitted that he dropped the baby. Between 2:57 and 3:23 p.m., the time advance showed that the vehicle was traveling southeast, back towards Bells, and back towards Jackson, was back in Jackson by 3:39 p.m. Between 4:22 and 6:06, and this is really important, there were overlapping arcs. And you heard the testimony was that when there's overlapping arcs, you can almost pinpoint where the person is. And those arcs overlapped right above Austin Drummond's parents' house. And it stayed there for an hour and a half. From 6:34 to 8:44 p.m., it was back at the Clarion Hotel, and then at Catlin Speed residence, who was Mr. Drummond's girlfriend. At 8:17, 911 calls come in about the body being found, and at 8:44, the phone was no longer on network. Your Honor, that is a very tight timeline. The testimony shows that Austin Drummond was at the scene. He admits he was at the scene. He was the person who got the rental vehicle. He's the only person who was in that Nissan Rogue, which video shows came back to the crime scene, was there just a very few minutes and left the crime scene. And that phone and video synced up all the way through from Jackson to the crime scene and back to Jackson. And there's no other person possible that could have been other than Austin Drummond. Your Honor, based upon that, we think that we've proven the aggravated kidnapping. He took the child without consent. He was not his child. He did not have custody. He was not the guardian. He is a convicted felon. Testimony was that these individuals were shot, which means a weapon was involved. He admits to being on the scene. All four individuals are deceased. We think that meets the probable cause for first degree murder and the possession of a weapon during commission of that felony.
Mr. Huffman.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Understanding this is a preliminary hearing and that the burden of proof is probable cause and not beyond reasonable doubt, obviously. There's been no evidence whatsoever that Mr. Drummond fired any weapon. The only evidence that was presented today was that there was a cell phone purchased by one of the victims at the scene and proof that he was present on scene, but no proof as to anybody else on scene, or even that the cell phone was in his hands when he was on scene. The only thing that probable cause was met was that his presence on scene. There was no evidence whatsoever regarding who fired these shots, if Mr. Drummond fired shots, or if there are other individuals on the scene. So we do not believe that the state has met probable cause regarding the murders. Obviously, there's some evidence regarding Mr. Drummond's child. So we would submit that to the court as to determination of carry probable cause hearing. Again, the only thing that the state has shown ostensibly is his presence on the scene and afterwards. There's been no evidence whatsoever that Mr. Drummond fired any shots.
Any response, General? In regards to the motion filed by the state, does that, do we need to have a hearing at this time regarding that? Okay. What I'm going to do is this. If everybody doesn't mind for a moment, I'm going to take a very brief recess. Okay. So if anyone needs to use the restroom, I would tell you to take this time to do so. I'm going to go downstairs and take a brief recess. I'll be back here, folks. Let's try. It is now 2:48. Everyone needs to be back in the courtroom at 3 p.m. sharp. 3 p.m.